Welcome back to Black Girl Couch Reviews. I'm your host, Christina. We are back for another and final recap and review of The Umbrella Academy Season 1, Episode 10, The White Violin. This episode was directed by Peter Hoare and written by Stephen Blackman. This was an awesome finale, and I definitely know where the budget went for those middling episodes. When we were getting a lot more exposition and character interaction and less fights, it definitely was saved for this very explosive season finale. I gave this a 10 out of 10. This is how you end a season, and this is how you end a season on a mother effing cliffhanger, because I have no idea what is going to happen next. Because my sister gave me a brownie, and that's all I will say about that. I had to write down every fucking thing that happened in this episode, because there was a lot going on. So this one is going to be rather sequential in how I do the recap and review. We start off with one of the biggest questions that I still have after this finale, and there is no news and gossip. I wasn't really on the interwebs this weekend. I have been really caught up in Cibola Burn, which is J.S. Corey's book in the Expanse franchise. Now that I'm finished with season 3, it has been my goal to get through these books. I'm like 99% sure I'm not going to hold off book by book and see how it follows the show. Nope, I'm all in. I need to know what happened next. So I went ahead and went to Audible and got Cibola Burn and Nemesis games, and then from the library I got Tiedeman's Wrath, which is their newest book. So I got a lot of freaking, because there's 2 more books after Nemesis Games, I believe. Don't ask me. I think they're Babylon's Ashes and Persephone Rising. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that's where my life is outside of watching these shows right now and working my ass off. So back to the Umbrella Academy. We get a flashback of a long time ago. This thing with the time, I have no idea. It's intriguing, but it's also very frustrating, because we see, it looks, the tonal coloring makes it feel like it's some type of future. Like, I don't know what timescape we're working in, because there are things that seem a little bit more advanced going on that doesn't match up with what is supposed to be the time period. I don't know if we're in a different kind of, I don't know, like what do you want to call it? Like a parallel universe in which things are kind of mixed up in which that would kind of make sense, because things kind of follow in line with a lot of the history that happens in our own timeline. And yet there are things that happen, like in this flashback, we're seeing shuttle takeoffs. Like, that seems to be a means of travel. And that's, of course, never happened in the 19 whatever this is supposed to be, which to me feels like the 50s or 30s, something around that time. And we meet Reginald Hargreeves as a young man, it would seem. Not too young, more like mid-30s. And he is consoling this older woman whose name I did not get at all. But you can tell that he's definitely in love with her. He tells her he brings her a present, and it's the violin that we know that Vanya has been using. And it's a present for her, but she says, I'm not going to be able to play it, give it to someone else special or something to that effect. And she says that the world needs Reggie and that she won't allow him to die. So who is this woman? I have no idea who this woman is, what kind of power she has, but that's how we end there. And he gets up puts the violin down, releases some golden type glittery shit in a vase out into the world. Is that her ashes? Maybe at that point? That's her energy? Huh. I don't know. I really don't know anything about what's happening right here. So, and I have not read the comics, so I have no clue other than a few snippets I have heard along the way. And I'm not sure if I want to jump into spoiling the hell out of myself or not, because I do have a lot of questions, but they're not as urgent as, you know, maybe some other thing like Expanse. I gotta read the next book. I can't wait. And I'm not sure how many seasons we're gonna get it on Prime, but I need to know. But in this one, I don't feel the need to spoil myself. Like, I have all these lingering thoughts at the end, which I'll go over, but I'm not wanting to jump online and completely go down the rabbit hole as I do sometimes when I just need to know. And then he is getting on what it looks like one of those future rockets to travel. And it says Customs and Immigration, and he introduces himself as Reginald Hargreaves. He's clearly going to establish his empire because he gets dropped off in what seems like a modern day New York City. And he sees a sign where it's called the Umbrella Academy, and he has an umbrella and it's being sold by a J. King. Whom is that? What is the significance here? He knew to go right to this place. I don't feel like he just said, or he could have, I guess, been like, ooh, I feel a connection here. This is where I shall start my business. It seemed like he had a plan going on. So there's a lot of shit we don't know about Hargreaves. Is he from another planet? Is that what it is? Because once he got to through Customs and Immigration, it looked like it was more United States. So maybe that's what it is. He came from another planet that's a little bit more, yeah, that would make more sense. And that travel would be on a rocket ship. Okay, that's interesting. Huh, that just came to me. But then we flash to today, and Vanya is looking all types of badass as Dark Phoenix, aka the White Violin. And I must say, she look hot as hell. I like the new attitude that she got going on. It's probably better owning all of your shit. Just don't kill people. Like, this is the kind of Vanya I want going forward. All of the spunk she has to her, just the less killing people and wanting to kill her family. Because she got a strut to her, and she's starting to make the house crumble. Kind of like what we saw in the future, that outside the mansion, they all were crumbled by the debris of their home. And Pogo tells everyone they got to go. Because they're like, what the hell is going on? They're like, it's Vanya, clearly. Get the fuck out of the house. And we see Luther ready to apologize to Pogo, because the last that Luther said to him, he was snapping his head off. But Pogo's like, we ain't got no time for that shit. Get the hell out. Vanya starts to go through every room, opening everyone's door, looking for the family, of course, to confront them. But no one is home. And she's recalling all the times that she was ignored by them. She busts in on, who was it, Diego? He's like, what the fuck you want? They're kids, Vanya. That's the part that I'll be like, but I get it. She's so past the point of no return. She is all up in her feelings. And there is nothing that is going to distract her from the ultimate goal, which is to get her concert and be the front and center of attention and made to feel special like she always wanted. And she just doesn't want anyone to be all up in her business because of this. But I thought it was interesting that she busted in on Luther and Allison kissing. And I was like, that baby Claire better not be they child. They secret love child that nobody knows about and Allison never told. Because she said, I heard a rumor we did not fuck. And Luther do not even know that. No, it was not his first time at all. But I don't know. That's just me speculating there. And she blows up everyone's room as she's recalling all of these painful hurt memories. Klaus and Diego are looking for Mom at Luther's behest. I'm glad he went back to calling her Mom and not Grace. Luther be on that petty. He really do. But at the end of it, you see that Luther has a heart. And this comes to, now that I've watched all the episodes, to something I kind of saw a lot on Tumblr, but I didn't address because I didn't know in which context people seem to be hating Luther so much. Y'all is out of y'all's mind. The Luther hate is completely unwarranted, unnecessary. Look, everyone in this family is fucked up in some way or another. Vanya is not the victim here. In some ways, yes, but everyone is a victim at the hands of, what is his name? Reginald Hargreeves. So this petty ass shit that he be doing is not justification for the black rage that people seem to have. I get it. Vanya is a character that seems to be that type that certain people like to attach themselves to because they got their own issues they like to deal with of being ignored and not acknowledged, and so they need to prop someone up as their spokesperson, and thus anything that goes against that spokesperson is a pariah and must be completely torn down like Caesar in Rome. Y'all, come on, grow up. Grow the fuck up. There's nothing he ain't done. Half the time he been speaking facts. Come on, seriously. I was waiting for it too. I was like, okay, let me wait for the thing that's gonna be what causes all of this mass hysteria. I didn't see it, not even a little bit. Y'all was more mad at Luther than I ever seen any type of hatred against fucking Leonard, who literally used this woman, stole her pussy, and manipulated her in the worst possible way, not to mention her father, and yet y'all gonna pinpoint Luther's ass, who is equally been manipulated and emotionally stunted, as that word is thrown around about 1,000,000 times by every other character in the show, and that's who y'all choose to go ahead and go against. Get the fuck out of here, y'all. Jesus, like and I hate to say it but it's always out there. It's the people who take their own agenda, and there's also the fact that Ellen Page is a gay woman and she's the head actress in the show, and thus we need to protect her at all costs. Y'all do no favors for giving y'all's characterizations growth and actual the ability to be a person by using their sexuality as a means to define them. That's not how if you want people to be integrated and treated as equals, then they need to actually be judged by their actions and not who they are as the thing that you're trying not to have people point at all the time. I don't know. I don't get this asinine. It's the same thing when I was in the Black Sails fandom, and everything that Flint did because he was a gay character was justified, and it was like, no, he's the villain of the story. Yes, understandable villain. Yes, we can still relate to these villains, but that doesn't make them not the villain. Same thing with the Man in Black in fucking Westworld. They're the villain. Just because you can feel for them doesn't mean you need to make them anything other than what they are. You can root for a villain because there's a dark, very disturbing side to everybody that is human beings. That's our nature. What makes us better then is the fact that we can get over those dark type of things. If you're still living in the dark thing and you think that nothing's wrong with their actions, then you're a fucking problem to society, and there's nothing else to be said for you. You probably support Nazis, and you're also probably racist as fuck and misogynistic and all of those other things that come with the terms that people feel when they think that the villain has done nothing wrong. And that's all I have to say about these people that continue to do this shit on social media. It's just sad, and why I don't pay attention to half of it most of the time. But I was really waiting though. I was like, maybe there's something Luther does. And I didn't see it manifest at all. And I was very disappointed in the fandom as a whole. This dude ain't do shit. He be in his feelings like everybody else, like Vanya her damn self, and be petty. But then at the end, dude got heart and love their family. I would say Vanya even took it a step too far, because she was actually trying to kill everybody up in her feelings. Luther was just like saying it, but he never really did anything. In the end, he was right there running to her ass with everybody else. When number 5 told her to pick her up, he picked her ass up. Then he was like, well, let me talk about some facts, people. And there's nothing wrong with that. Jesus. Grow up. Anyways, ran over. So we get to the point where Diego and Klaus is knocked out by the debris. And Klaus wakes up, he's just a little dazed, I guess. And he very ineffectively keeps calling Diego's name because the ceiling's about to collapse on them. And it's Ben who comes to the rescue and drags him to safety. Diego, that is. And I'm like, holy shit, Ben can physically interact. So whenever I guess he's close to Klaus, he can physically interact with everybody else. That's pretty damn awesome, Klaus. I wonder why Dave never showed up. Dave's like, I'm not talking to you right now because you being a shit. You getting gyros while you supposed to be on the lookout. Dad even kept Vanya out of the family photo. That was fucked up when she went in the living room. And he was like, she's like, Dad, you forgot me. And he's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Why is he gotta be such an ass? And he tells everyone else, eyes forward, keep your mouth shut. Man, he kept everything totalitarian up in that piece. And whatever he had to do to cut every inch of empathy and emotion away, probably because Vanya seemed to remind him the most of the love of his life. I think that's why he gave her the violin, which he clearly did give to her. And we see a moment of him actually cracking and having a smile on his face is when he's alone in the house with Vanya. So I think he was closer to her than... I think he was probably emotionally trying to be closer to her than he should. He probably should have killed her ass when she was a child. That's so sad to say, but she be on that shit. Like, she didn't respect Grace until Grace had to show her, no, bitch, I'm more powerful than your ass. It don't work this way. Pogo decides to confront Vanya himself. Like, girl, that's enough, Miss Vanya. And she, out of respect, calms her shit down. Because she's ready to go ham on Hargreeves' photo up there. And we see that Allison is being shifted out of the room by Luther. And he and Pogo share a look. Basically like, hey, we still good? And then Pogo's like, look, boy, you obviously need to be forgiven right now. So I'm going to give you this little nod. He's like, I got it from here. And he tells her, whatever your father did, your siblings are not responsible for what happened to you, which she should know since it's obvious. But of course, when you are irrationally up in your feelings, because she is just as emotionally stunted as everyone else, she's not thinking rationally. But he is trying to get her to reconcile, like, don't hurt your family. If you want to be mad at your daddy, I get it. You want to destroy the house, I get it. You have the right to be pissed off. And hey, if you want to be mad at me, I totally get that as well. But your siblings, your brothers and your sister, they ain't had shit to do with it. But she's ridiculously fucked up when it comes to their childhood. And it creates this subsequent behavior in them as adults that make them do selfish shit. And she asks, did you know? And he never answered that question the first time she asked. He just gave her this speech. And he tells her that her powers were too great and that your daddy just tried to protect you and protect your siblings as well. Again, by being the worst dickhead possible. That seems to be his only solution to the problem, and it's not a solution. And Vanya just looks at him like, did you know? And we know what she's talking about. Like, did you know he locked me the fuck up, drugged me, and had Allison use her powers on me. That's a huge violation. And he was complicit. And he admits, yes, Miss Vanya, I knew. And as soon as she fucking shook her head and nodded twice.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I knew it was coming. I can't even, to be honest, can't even blame Vanya for this. It's sad. It's terrible. I'm not happy what happened to Pogo. My heart hurt when she tossed him across the room and impaled his ass on, what was that? Some antlers. That's even more disrespectful. Animal against animal crime. But at the same time, it's an understandable reaction. You were complicit. And not only were you complicit, I trusted you. My dad, yeah, he was an asshole. He was an asshole to all of us. But you did lie to me. And the rest siblings do have an out. We didn't know. But you did know. And you were complicit and you said shit. And I'm sure there's nothing he could have done for it. Because he's a goddamn chimpanzee. And I'm sure when you call someone master, you don't have a lot of fucking rights. Like, I don't feel like Pogo is there in any capacity other than slavery. So it sucks. But he also tried to justify the old man. And I get it. It's unfortunate what happened. But at the same time, it's something that I can't totally 100% hold against Vanya for doing. And of course Luther sees this shit walking out the door and he ain't happy about it. That's got to hurt his heart. And this of course reinforces his thoughts that Vanya has gone off the fucking deep end. She killing family. Like, it's one thing to get pissed off and kill a lot of other people, but when you're trying to actually kill me, you have hurt the love of my life, and now you kill daddy. And then not to mention mom dies in this shit, because as Diego and Klaus get outside, they share a hug. Diego hugs him. He's like, oh, thank you for saving my life. And Ben's looking like, what the fuck, dude? You taking credit? Klaus like, what do you want me to say? That I could see you? They're not gonna believe that shit, which clearly they don't. I don't know why though. Ben would see but I guess, you know, it's been established, I mean Klaus anyway, that Klaus has been the person that cried wolf entirely too many times for this family to take seriously anymore. And that's what happens when you cry wolf. Eventually nobody comes, and then you get 8, and then you're like, shit, I should have been playing them games all this time. But mom kisses Diego goodbye because she's going down with this shit. It's like nothing for me, even though I'm like, come on, you could have helped. Came out the damn house and helped them stop Vanya, but instead she is destroyed in the rubble. And Diego afterwards is looking for mom. She said, Klaus, help. Klaus is like, no, I'm not helping, not at all, because she's gone. And when Diego said, you want to walk away from this?
I hurt myself today.
That was entirely too much emotional trauma for me. They were made orphans at this moment. So everyone is understandably hurt. Luther tells them Vanya killed Pogo. And this is not Luther's fault. Luther haters, he did not cause the fucking apocalypse, as they say in the show about a million times. That is literally what everyone has said, that he causes the apocalypse by locking up Vanya. First and foremost, it was always going to happen. It was always going to happen, the apocalypse. They say it 15 times in this episode. The handler does. This was always going to happen. The first time it happened, it just happened differently. But Vanya was always going to be the one that causes the apocalypse. Additionally, the first time around, Vanya did not slice Allison's throat. Thus, Luther didn't lock her up, and she still caused the apocalypse. Leonard Peabody is the one that got to her and caused the apocalypse. He is more responsible, again, for the apocalypse than anyone else. Please redirect your anger appropriately. Thank you. Anyways, they don't believe that Vanya killed him. He's like, look, I seen it with my own damn eyes. Diego's like, oh my God, now dad, not dad, but Uncle Pogo. And they're all starting to grieve when number 5 comes out of fucking nowhere.
All I want you to do is send an ambulance because I'm finna bust a cap in these fools.
And I really did enjoy the cinematography as they're all around the rubble and you see the fire. And he's like, what the fuck? I got this newspaper. The apocalypse is still on. It's happening today. Was it Klaus? He says, I'm confused. He says, so listen to me, you idiot. He tells them Vanya is the cause of the apocalypse. Harold Jenkins was just the fuse. She's the actual bomb. We thought we stopped this shit. But no, it has a way of always happening. And I feel like this is the thing that they're not going to be able to get away from. And at some point, they're going to have a conclusion to this. I was surprised that they didn't conclude it in this episode. But this is the thing that is always going to happen. And this is, I guess, the thing that they're going to be fighting for to stop for 4 seasons. I don't know. But he is the one to blame, Harold Jenkins, because if he had not stopped the sisters from reconnecting, that would have stopped Vanya from having all of these dormant feelings of insecurity, and then her father dying. That's another huge thing. Her family still being on the outs with her, them seeing each other after all these years. All of it was a ticking time bomb ready to go off. And Harold Jenkins really was the fuse. Nothing else. If they were actually able, Allison was able to get the family to her side more quickly, as she's tried to do like 15 million times, then this would not have happened. And then I cracked the hell up though when the Popo came and they all started scattering like roaches. And Alice's black ass is the first to be skedaddling like, I ain't dumb. She heard them sirens and was like, deuces, didn't even say anything, just started running. And I'm like, Allison, why are you still looking bae? I mean, the house just crumpled. You just got your neck sliced. You've been at the edge of death and you still looking stunning from H to T. Luther says that they are going to regroup at the Superstar, which it turns out is a bowling alley. Handler comes and sits down Cha and Hazel amidst this huge buffet of food. That's all she did this episode is eat. Agnes is still tied up in the fucking corner on the little DS. And she starts chewing them out, saying, I don't know how y'all could have fucked this up anymore. This was a 1-day job, and we are somehow 1 day from the apocalypse, and y'all still ain't got this shit together. Cha mentions, hey, number 5 got backup. He got his family. And Hazel is like, what Cha means to say is that we really fucked this up and we have no excuse for it. Something like that. Because what he really wanted to say is, I'm in love with this woman still tied up over there. And you did send us a fucking message to kill each other. And that's kind of what set this all in motion as well. Because it fast forward some events. Because I'm not sure how quickly Hazel would have been to jump over to Agnes and save her, because he realized he was in love, if it wasn't for the message he received having his out to get done, because he thought that the commission was done with him. But why does the handler keep speaking in Yiddish? Why? What the hell why would Yiddish be a thing? But he says we both got the messages to kill each other, and she's like, I didn't send no. Oh shit. She says, damn, he is good. And I'm wondering, is all this shit she's letting 5 get away from is because she's kind of planning on making her predecessor, or her successor, I should say. Because she seems to be more intrigued by what he does. And then there's some conversation she has with him that suggests that she is now from a further future than even he came back to before, because now she's healed. There's been some changes, and we'll get to that conversation in a minute. So there's a lot of questions there about the handler, number 5 in the commission, and his family. But she tells him that they got a new assignment. We're gonna put this shit behind us. And your new assignment is to protect Vanya Hargreeves at all costs. And then afterwards, Hazel can retire with the donut lady to any time period of his choice. And Cha, because she asks, what do I get? Gets a new partner. And all of her record expunged, including all of the fuck ups, the fines, and the mark on her reputation. And they can either do that or they will just be terminated. So of course it's either do what I say or die. And that's what she said before. All you guys have to do is take orders. Like, how the hell did you screw this up so bad? And that's what Hazel's like, well, your orders was to fucking have us kill each other. And the new white violin is hot even when she's all in black, because she decides to go back home and pimp herself the fuck out. And I was so here for it. Now, when she goes downstairs and she's in the middle of the street and this car tells her, you know, bitch, get the fuck out of my way. And then she throws the car about 50 something feet and kills the man. I'm like, that's not necessary, Vanya. Your ass is in the middle of the damn road. That is totally on you. You deserve to be called a bitch because you're in the middle of damn traffic. At the bowling alley, Luther, where everyone has regrouped, Luther tells everyone that, so I'm just going to say it right now, Vanya might have to be taken out permanently. Allison smacks him like, no, we're not doing that. Diego are both is agreeing like, no, we ain't with just killing her. He's like, I'm not saying we gotta murder her, but it's an option. And number 5 is like, yeah, I don't know why y'all don't get that idea. It's 7 billion people versus our crazed out sister. I really want to save her, but at the same time, it's 7 billion people versus our sister. It needed to be said. That's what a leader would say. They say the things that no one wants to hear, even though he does suck as a leader. He's not as good as a leader, I should say. He's got some work to do. Like, I feel like the kid Luther was much more of a leader, and somewhere along the way after Allison leaving, he lost a huge part of himself and went into a depression. And it's kind of fortunate we didn't get more of that story, but I think we got it in some of his dialogue tonight, which he had a lot of good dialogue when he was talking to Allison. Klaus finds, because he's like, we don't even know where the hell she is at, Vanya that is. He's looking through the paper at Ben's behest because he is one of the smarter people in this group. I think the higher your number, the smarter you are. Let me see. Number 1 is number 1. I think he's not dumb. I think he's probably the most strong and the one with the purest heart in all of this, and meaning that he's the one that's trying to be the actual hero. Because we know that as much as Allison is good right now, when she was a kid, she was not as, you know, unselfish as all that. Anyways, I'm not judging her for that. I mean, I can't even to judge anybody for abusing their powers when they abuse them. I don't know how I would do, so I'm not going to judge anyone else yet. But let me see. Who was number 2? Is Diego. So he's another one, because he be whooping that ass. And he's really powerful with the knives, and he is the second one that kind of leads people. Then I think Rumor is number 3. And then number 4 is Ben. Number 4 is Klaus. But he's not very smart. Maybe Klaus, yeah. But he's stronger. He has more abilities. Number 5 is number 5, of course. And then number 6 is Ben. And then number 7 is Vanya. So Ben is really powerful. And we see his power come out today. And I'm like, oh, we need to see more of that. Totally more of that. I don't know how he died. How did Ben die? I have no clue. Something tells me something went down and he was doing his monster thing. and he was incapacitated doing his monster thing, saving people, and that left him vulnerable to get like shot in the head or something, because he doesn't look like he could do much else once the tentacles come out. And Klaus sucks as a backup, as a lookout. Oh, but then this waitress comes over because her manager is mad because she's like, you either gotta bowl or you gotta leave. And the way he smacked down them fucking shoes, I don't know why I was laughing so hysterically. And Luther throws a strike from across like 6 lanes, and I was like, color my ass impressed as fuck. So they're trying to figure out what to do next. And Klaus wants to speak up. He's like, no, I want to speak. I have a plan. I have some ideas. And everyone kind of rolls their eyes at him. And Diego's like, no, let him talk. And Luther's like, seriously? He's like, yeah, you saved my life earlier. And they're like, oh, really? Is that true? Like, have you given something to the team? So something tells me he has not given anything to the team in quite some time. So he has a lot of growth to do. And I like it. That's the thing also. I believe these characters are starting in this new place going forward, that they still have a lot of room to grow. So I think it's premature to judge characters at the apex of an event that creates some maturity level. And that it's going to be nice seeing them, how they start off and how they're going to evolve from there. And we see little nooks and pieces every once in a while on how each character can elevate themselves, involved in overcoming a little bit more of their shittier flaws, I should say. I thought he was going to take credit again because because I'm like, are you going to tell anyone Ben saved his life? And he does. He's like, look, I didn't save his life, Ben did. And when I was about to take some pills, Ben knocked them out of my teeth. He can physically interact, because before I feel like Klaus said when Ben did hit the pills out of his mouth, Ben was like, no, I didn't do that. You did, Klaus. But I think Klaus understands that, no, I'm the conduit, but you still are the one taking the actions. Ben's all types of flattered. However, when it comes time to prove his theory and he throws the bowling ball at him, it goes right through him. And everyone's like, we ain't got no time for these games, Klaus. We ain't got no time. And he tells Luther, I liked you a lot better before you got laid.
These nuts. Got him! Got him!
The comedy in this scene was really good because you see his eyes, Luther's eyes, go a little large. And then Allison's eyes go a little large, like excuse me? And then Klaus is trying to backtrack, but there's got to be some part of him that was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this even though I'm not. And he's trying to say, well, it's not really his fault. You were very high and the girl thought you was a furry. And is like, please shut the fuck up. Please, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. And then he does this slow head turn to Allison and she just walks off. And there's a devil on Klaus's shoulder that's sorry and not sorry. Then a woman comes over. I feel like we've seen this woman a few times in this series. At least my eye has seen this actress a few times in this series in other scenes. And she comes over with her son Kenny and says, hey, your son, we're having a birthday party and he would have a lot more fun playing with kids his own age, if that's okay with you two, if your two dads say it's okay or something like that. And I'm looking like, one, that's awfully presumptuous of you. And she's inquiring this of number 5, and she thinks the two dads are Klaus and Diego. And number 5 looks her dead up in the eye and said, I would rather chew off my own foot. And she's like, come on, Kenny. We got to get the hell away from here. Oh, he was so serious, though. But he gets a message from the handler via a fortune cookie to come meet her at the motel. And then he always just dip out with saying nothing. He's just not used to leaving any information, a note. But you hear in the background as he's reading this message, Klaus saying, well, you would have been lucky to even get, if I was gay, you wouldn't even get something like this. And he's like, shit, you wouldn't get something like me. I thought that was really cute. Hazel and Cha are back in a busted out vehicle. And she says, look, I gotta admit, things got wild. I'll be the first one to admit things got out of hand. And Hazel's like, girl, stop swigging the Kool-Aid, because she thinks that everything's gonna be fine. We just gotta finish this assignment. And he's like, it's bullshit. What's one thing that we don't have? A fucking briefcase. We ain't going home. Why can't you see this shit for what it is? You are so brainwashed. I like this new Hazel though. He's finally over Cha-Cha's shit. We go back to, no wait, because I was laughing that Vanya was taking the bus. I was like, girl, take a damn taxi. Who takes the bus? But we get another flashback very quickly as she sees this little girl on the bus, and she smiles at her violin. And is it me or am I just reaching? But I thought that the old woman looked a lot like this little girl. And we get the flashback next of Reginald telling her that they're going to be on a mission for, the other kids are going to be on a mission for a little while, so you're going to have to just be alone with your studies. And she says, well, my next study is music. Do you mind if I borrow this violin? And she's really happy to show it off to Grace, and that she's going to be extraordinary at playing this violin. So her coping mechanism becomes her murder weapon. Back with Luther and Allison, because Hazel and Cha-Cha are just going to follow Vanya, apparently. I am doing this and eating this cheesecake, and it is so damn good, just side note. But he tells Allison, we ain't got no time to talk about this. But when she does not give a response, he says, okay, fine. Look, I was mad about Dad sending me up to space for no damn reason on the moon, and I got drunk, really, really drunk, and then there was the pills, and then I went to a rave, which they're actually really fun. And she cuts him off like, motherfucker, do you not realize that I have a daughter? I have a child, and I have things that are on my mind that has fucking nothing to do with something as insignificant as you getting laid. Do you forget I was married? Damn. And she tells him, writes down on a pad, I need to use your voice. And then they go into this phone booth, and she calls her daughter Claire. And of course Luther has to speak for her, and he's like, hi, I'm Luther. I'm here with your mom. She's like, space boy. And I was like, oh. And Luther tells Claire he's wanted to meet her since the day that she was born. And I'm like, my emotions were not prepared for this scene at all either, because I knew it in the back of my mind. I was like, is she ever going to bring up Claire? And then when she does, you realize that it's been on her mind all this time between saving Vanya and Claire. She's clearly not paying attention to what these boys keep talking about. I mean, she is, but she's kind of like, I got my own shit too, you know. And she's trying to write off in the note what she wants to say to her and have Luther, you know, say it for her. And just as she's about to write, the notebook drops, and Allison is starting to break all the fucking way down. And the actress playing her did a phenomenal job of showing her emotions in that scene. The fact that she's never going to talk to her daughter, touch her daughter, tell her she loves her daughter anytime in the future, and that the world's going to end. She can't do any of these things, and she feels helpless. And she also does not have the one thing that is her. And Luther grabs her hand because she's feeling really just torn and helpless and ineffective, and he starts to talk for her, but he's also trying to tell her how he really feels and has felt. He says, I miss you. I'm sorry that I let you down. You're the most important person in the world to me. I love you more than anyone else. And every night that you're in my dreams. And it's beautiful because it's exactly how she feels about her daughter. It's how you feel when you're in love with someone. even to the extent of, actually being romantic love or just have love for your child. And she agrees that, thank you, that's exactly what I would have said. And she also hears what he's saying in regards to his feelings for her. And he promises she'll be home soon. And of course that causes another round of panic and tears from Allison, because of course she's not going to be home soon. And she's so happy that her daughter doesn't hold this grudge against her that her husband has and put it on the front page. We moved on without her. I was like, damn. She clearly still misses her mommy and wants a relationship with her. I think the husband did nothing wrong by keeping her, away from her. In that sense, she did violate some trust between the parenthood code. But it's nice to see that she clearly still loves her mommy and has not been poisoned by him. Hazel finally does what needs to be done and crashes his car into a construction barrier once they get to the Icarus Theater so that Cha-Cha's ass can go flying. He looks at her for 5 seconds to make sure she don't get her ass back up and then drives off. Luther is in let's go mode after they make all this emotional context for me, because the concert starts in 30 minutes and he's like, where's 5? And he's like, 5 went deuces. We don't know what the fuck that man is. And I forgot Luther knows that 5 has the capability to get out. Unlike the rest of them, he can move on with his life, and they're the ones that are fucked. Finally, the commission does send some fucking muscle in machine guns. And I was wondering when this was going to happen. I was like, please show me that they actually have more capability than just Cha and Hazel. Because I didn't see any, they're good assassins. I mean, when they were fighting each other, holy shit, last episode, they was going to town. But we hadn't seen it as well, showcased in the last few episodes. They've kind of been the buffoons being played by the Umbrella Academy. And then when they're in there with the muscle, he says, you think that they're here for us? And Klaus says, maybe they're here for Kenny's birthday. And one of the guys hits the record and Saturday Night starts playing, and we get the fight off, the standoff, as Luther is throwing bowling balls and Diego's of course throwing knives. Klaus throws a birthday cake. And Allison of course is crouched down because she can't do much right now without her powers, which sucks. I hope she gets her ability to speak back, because they didn't say that she wasn't going to be able to speak again. They say it was too early to tell. They don't have a way out because they're blocking the exit, and Allison points to the lanes, and because Luther can understand exactly what she means, says, no, we need to go out there, fucking idiot. And then they have this awesome ass shot of them running across the lanes, and Klaus, forever the drama queen diva, got a skid, turn around, and then toss his ass into the pins. Just so overly dramatic. And then they escape. Handler and number 5 are back at the motel, and she tells him that time is something that the commission has as an asset. Because she's like, oh, he's like, I'm surprised you healed up. What do you want? And it's been a long time since I've seen you. And he's like, it's been 3 days, bitch. And she's like, it's been much longer for me since I've seen you in those cute shorts. Why does she have a heart on for 5? It's just weird. Just stop it. And I don't like the actress. I hope she doesn't come back next year. But we do get a little bit of interesting information that the commission has changed from all the damage that he caused, because he points out that the message that she sent to him was against protocol, and they was all about protocol last time. And she's like, yeah, well, you destroyed all of the briefcases, you took out a lot of important ass people, you caused a lot of shit to blow up. And he's like, what the fuck you want? Why did you call me here? And she starts sitting, eating, and talking about, look, you still got an out. You can still have a life and escape and wonder one day in the future if I'm going to call you for an assignment again. So she's not even trying to kill him. And this is when he realizes that this is a distraction, because she even says, and you're here with me while your family is out at the theater. So what? I don't get, it feels like she's playing chess with him. waiting to see what move he counteracts, and this is the ultimate test. If he can break the time loop continuum and stop the apocalypse, then he gets to be head of the time whatever. I don't know. I just don't know. But she even said she has superiors, so it's not like she is anyone that is the top of the food chain. She has people that are even higher than her. Who are her superiors? Are we going into some god type shit, some alien type shit? I don't know. I was cracking up at poor Agnes and still tied up. And I bet she was taking a shower too when Hazel came in. I was cracking up. But she's still tied up in the room, and she's taking in because he's like, the world's about to end. And she's like, She just took all of this news audibly and kept reacting. Like, as soon as he walked in, she's like, help me. And he's like, bitch, who are you? What does he say? You must got a thing for donuts. Oh, no, she's like, this is the same little kid that I saw earlier. And we get to the Icarus Theater where Allison says once the boys get there that she has to go alone and talk to Vanya. Luther's like, no, we beyond that. And everyone else finally does agree. They're like, no, the music's playing. We gotta stop this shit. Luther wants to argue with her, but he's like, fine, go ahead. And that's when Diego's like, you gonna let her be the distraction? And he's like, yeah, she'll forgive us later. Don't worry about it. And tells Klaus that he's the lookout, because they gonna bum rush the stage. This was their plan. It's a shitty plan, Diego, or fucking Luther. And Hazel kills the hand. He comes right in that room with nothing but business on his mind. She come out of the shower and she says, I thought you were the smart one. And he don't have no words for her. He's like, bitch, clip to the head, dead. I hope she don't come back from that. I don't think she can come back from that, and that's fine by me. He rescues Agnes and he tells her, hey, I totally get if you do not want to be with me anymore, because this is kind of what I did before and I'm okay with that. And she just says, everyone's got a past. So they really are in love. That's cute, I guess, but I could almost care less. But they kiss, and we see that there's a briefcase in the vent. Again, I don't know how much of this the handler knew about or the superiors knew about, because this all felt very convenient. Vanya still has a soft spot for Allison, because Allison's listening to her play and she's just thinking to herself, visibly on her face anyway, that she sounds real good. And they share a little moment where she smiles at her, so she's still in there. But she's got her moment on the stage and she ain't letting nobody fucking mess that up, because the boys bum rush. And I'm like, really? And she knocks them both back. Deserved. I was cracking up when everybody started leaving, and then she forced the whole entire opera to continue to play. Like, I was like, I love that. That was hilarious. Allison, as they're ducking, because as people are running out of the theater, I love the shot of seeing the commission's gunmen going into the theater with them crazy ass gas masks. What's up with the gas masks? They just love masks? I don't know. I know it's to conceal their identity. I get that part, but why they gotta be gas masks? But Allison throws shit at them, Luther in particular. And he's like, well, what did you expect, woman? I'm not about to lose you again. It's irrelevant, Luther. Everyone's gonna die. Allison motions for the violin, and Diego's like, no shit, she's playing it. And Luther's like, no shit, she means get it away from her. It's her lightning rod. The commission men start shooting at them, and I'm like, okay, Klaus, you were the lookout. And here his ass at buying a gyro, talking about adding some more cilantro. Ben's like, is that gunfire? He's like, huh? And then he even goes out in the street. You can very clearly hear the gunfire, and he gonna put his ear out. Put his hand up to his ear like, I don't hear nothing. Dumbass. And that's when they go around the corner and they see Cha coming like the plague, all types of fucked up and walking slow, because she gonna do her job. And they decide to run back inside. They're like, it's on and popping now. It's time to show them what we could do. And he even throws the gyro because he's ready to step up and show them. And number 5 pops back in. And he says, what's all the lollygagging? And then ducks as they start shooting at him too. And Luther's like, I thought you bailed. And he's like, I had an errand to run. I love the banter between them. It's the best part of their characterizations. And he says, you know these guys? And he's like, yeah. And Diego's like, and? He says, we're screwed. And then he starts to attack one. I was like, Jesus, he just jumped on his ass. I'm like, you be taking, well, he did take out a few people. And then Diego were taking out a few people with his fucking knives. I need you to do something else other than have super strength, Luther, and come up with better plans. Ben manifests just in time through Klaus to beat the commission peeps. He gets their tentacles and rips their asses apart. And is it me, or does it look like it causes him a lot of pain? So from what I can understand, because I did have to wonder what his powers were, and that caused me to look, and I found out that he controls monsters from other universes underneath his skin. And this is how it manifests. Is this the only monster that he can conjure? Are we going to see other monsters? But it does seem like it causes him pain. As soon as Diego sees Cha-Cha, he goes for it. They start going at it. As Ben is taking care of business, and everybody's just staring like, Ben? They can't see him, but they can in a way see him. And Diego gets the drop on Cha-Cha, and just as he's about to kill her, with tears in his eyes, he recalls what his brother gave him about Patch and lets her go, which this surprises Cha-Cha. And then he goes back to the gang, and Luther's like, where you been at? Or no, he says, hey, welcome back. Where were you? He's like honoring a memory. And Allison gives the comforting pat, and I love this family so much. If anything ever happens to them, I will rip someone's head off. Vanya is just very obliviously causing the apocalypse. She's just playing her ass off. That's all she doing. I was like, this is just very unfortunate. There is no intent here. There is no intent to really even cause pain. It just seems like if y'all just left her the fuck alone and let Alice have a talk with her at some point in time, then this shit wouldn't have happened. But that's what happens when there's no communication and your wires get tossed and you ain't talked to your siblings for 12 fucking years. And they say they're going to go at Vanya at all angles, and that it's going to be a suicide mission. And Allison is basically like, I'm not following any more of your dumbass plans. And they all make their move, and Vanya very easily captures all of them. The imagery in the scene was amazing. Amazing balls. As she went from black, and she's dressed in all white, including the violin. Nice touch making the violin all white as well. And she is holding all four boys, and she is killing them. And I love the angle of the shot that had the slow reveal to show that Allison, in tears and all black, mind you, with a gun to Vanya's head, and she can end it. She can kill her right then and there, and she chooses not to kill her. You can see her having that moment like, I cannot kill my sister. Like, I'm not willing to do this. And even though the boys are totally dying, and she's gonna have to do that, and in a moment of realization is like, well, no, I don't have to kill her. She actually shoots the gun right next to her ear, deafens her, and that is enough to have Allison or Vanya release herself of her whatever the fuck she was in, because I feel like the power just took over at that point. And there was a huge blast of energy that headed straight into the heart of the fucking moon. But all the boys rush over, wanting to know if she's alive, and she is, and they're really all relieved. Everyone, did you notice the expressions, haters? Everyone's relieved. You even have Allison being cradled by Luther as she's cradling fucking Vanya. To her, Vanya's her child. I don't know when Vanya became Allison's child. But it's a thing. And then they're like, okay, we did it. We saved the world. I'm like, is no one looking? And I love the shot too of the moon in the sky up in the ceiling. And they can clearly see that, nope, they have not saved the world, because a chunk of the moon has broken off and it's crashing down to the earth. And oh shit, there's other chunks as well. Diego's like, oh, if only the old man could see us right now. The Umbrella Academy, absolute and utter total failures. And I'm like, oh, see, got some issues. Klaus grabbed his chain of Dave's. He's like, well, that's how it ends then. Luther, ever the optimist, is like, well, at least we're all together as a family. There is that. And everyone does seem to be at least happy about that, except Five's in the background like, oh, y'all fucking morons. I got powers to time travel. I have a way to get out of this. And everyone looks at him like,
hell to the no, to the no, 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 hell no, no, to the no, no, hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 no.
They are done hearing his crazy asinine shit. But he's like, no, I have powers and I can time travel with everyone. And then even Luther's like, whoa, what's the worst that could happen? He's like, you're staring at it, a 50-year-old man trapped into a child's body. And he says, well, fuck it, we're all in. Even Allison, they're like, yeah. And they're like, grab Vanya. Number 5 tells him to do that. And Luther immediately picks her up. But then he goes, should we take her with her? Because we're kind of taking a time bomb. And 5 is like, dude, what's meant to be is meant to be. She always gonna be the fucking end of the world. We just gotta fix this child. And again, this is not irrational conversation, folks. When I saw number 5 and Allison holding hands, I had a moment of being real emotional. And I need more of them in season 2. Because from what I heard, he and she are related. Sorry if you were not wanting to know that spoiler, but I accidentally got it, so I'm sharing. But number 5 and Allison are actually blood related brother and sisters, and that's what I think. And I didn't know that at first. Like, I'm just found that out, like not even like a week ago. Like when I did the last episode, when I was like, why is he all like Claire? He knew Claire was the daughter of her and that he hoped to meet, and it almost seemed they had this weird moment, and it seems to be like the show keeps them purposely apart for some reason. And they only had that one scene where they really were working together and it was cute. And I was like, why don't we get more of them? I want to. Everybody's got their thing. So I felt really emotional when she had her hand in his, because it felt very natural that they would be the ones holding hands. I don't know. I don't care. Anyways, watching the planet explode is where the budget for the middling episodes went. Is exactly what I put in my notes because it was fucking awesome. I loved it. It was everything on Armageddon type level. Everything that I wanted in an apocalypse. You saw the rain of balling fires going down to Earth. You see cities exploding. You see water rushing. You see it in a map-like form. Agnes and Hazel escape. They kiss and escape from the apocalypse. He's like, I don't know where the fuck we about to go, but we're going somewhere. So we're going to see them again, probably in some time period, chilling. Cha is on the phone to the commission still trying to get her extraction, but she dies because she's an idiot. Because she should have did what her partner did. Follow her heart. I don't know. Because if she would have went back to the room and I followed orders, she would have got into a briefcase and escaped with them, even though, because Hazel didn't want to kill her. Not at first. Until she did what she did. And then all of the children, it starts to work, and they turn, all of our children, the Umbrella Academy that is, turn back into children. What the hell? What does that mean? Are they going to be stuck as children? I want to see all of the cast come back next season. I don't think they'll be stuck as children. But they do turn children. And they did show a few people that I was kind of like, what? Like, they showed the old partner looking at a note or something before. Like, dude, I know you hear that shit happening outside. Why are you just sitting at your desk? And then they even show the one guy, the one officer. I can't remember why he was important, but it was funny. And then that shit goes off. And I'm like, motherfucker. I was so unfulfilled at all. I was like, oh, you're not even going to show us. I was going all the way to the end through the credits thinking there's an after credit scene. No. I'm like, y'all not even going to show me where they ended up. Ugh. So some lingering questions. One, the actor playing number 5 is going to be older. How soon are they going to pick up production? That has to be fairly soon if we're going to keep the continuation of the story. It's kind of like the Stranger Things kids. Like they're growing up fast because you got to keep production moving. And from what I understand, I think number 5 stays stuck in his kid body. Plus, that's pretty much the most appeal of his character. He's funny as hell, but it's even funnier because he's stuck in a kid's body. What was Reginald Hargreaves' plan? And did it go right? Did it go wrong? We're going to see him again because Klaus is going to find out more shit, and I'm sure he's going to pop back up to give someone a really good shave. And then are the other 30 odd children that were born the same day as they were important? What about Claire? Is she going to have powers too? Because she's the only one out of all of them that had a child. Is she now erased from existence? That would suck. How far back are they fucking going? That's the question. Because they're going to try to save the apocalypse once again. So they're going to get another snapshot at this. So that is where we leave the Umbrella Academy season 1. I hope they're filming season 2 right now because I need it ASAP. Like ASAP. If you want to send feedback on any of my other shows that I'm doing, I will be updating the calendar. You can send that to blackgirlcouch@gmail.com, or any of your lingering thoughts or opinions regarding season 1 of the Umbrella Academy. I can always bust out a bonus podcast for any type of commentary if I get enough emails. My social medias will be down below. You can find this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, and Spotify at Black Girl Couch Reviews. Till next time, guys. Peace.